El Retiro Antioquia is known as La Cuna de la Libertad. It was the place in which the first group of slaves in Colombia were released by Javier Londoño. It is a small place with preserved architecture, green landscapes, and many fine resorts. The delicate woodcraft, by the virtue of traditional Ebanista families, has given El Retiro a great national recognition. El Retiro is the first municipality that we find when moving towards eastern Antioquia, located in the San Nicolas Valley, just 32 kilometers from the city of Medellin, by paved roads, and half of the journey with dual carriageway via Las Palmas to the roundabout of Sancho Paisa. According to geographical coordinates, we can find that El Retiro is at a latitude of 6.05 and a longitude of minus 75.5. It is 6 degrees 3 minutes and 0 seconds north and 75 degrees 30 minutes 0 seconds west. The total extension of landmass is 244 square kilometers. The urban area extension is 1.5 square kilometers. The rural area extension is 242 square kilometers. And the altitude of the municipal seat, which is the sea level, it's above 2,175 meters above sea level. And the average temperature is around 16 Celsius. There are also other production lines such as poultry farming, pig farming, floriculture, fish farming, and dairy cattle. Now, let's talk a little bit about the mountains. So the head of the municipality is lying on the central branch of the Colombian Andes, and it should be noted that in this part that cross this municipality, the Cordillera is depressed in such a way that the waters from the Pantanillo, a tributary river of the Magdalena, have been artificially carried to the Riachuelo of La Miel, a sub-tributary of the Cauca River. Now, talking about the hills. So the highest prominences of the Cordillera in this municipality are San Antonio to the southwest and Santa Isabel to the west, and the Corcovado in a branch to the east. Municipality settings. Generally speaking, this circumscription is very broken, with valleys and plateaus being very rare, a circumstance that does not favor this part of the territory for large plantations. The fact of being extremely rough, the territory that includes and understands this municipality, makes the rainy season a very rigorous one. Hailstorms are discharged frequently, along with electrical discharges, because in addition to the roughness of the terrain, there is the circumstance of being covered with impenetrable mountains, especially the part that remains to the west. Waters. El Retiro is bathed by the Pantanillo or Nair River, and the La Miel Riachuelo, a tributary of the Magdalena and the second of the Cauca. Multitude of streams and streams that flow into these two veins, the most notable being El Guarzo, El Caldero, and Don Diego del Pantanillo. Among all of these waters currents, the Pantanillo River and the Guarzo Riachuelo provide great service for the transport of wood and firewood, both for the population and for the salt flats that are a source of wealth for the region. The waters are of excellent quality as they are completely drinkable since all of them run through beds covered with pebbles. It should also be noted that many streams are notable not from the flow of their waters but from the showy and foaming waterfalls that they present, as it happens with Piedras Blancas, Don Diego, Las Palmas, Carrizales, Santa Isabel, Threads, and some others. So, natural production, and we're gonna start with the animals. In the animal kingdom, despite the abundance of forest nature, it has not been very generous in El Retiro. The lion, the tapir, the deer, the monkey, the luncho, the otter, and others existed at one time. Today, they are extinct species. Smaller animals are not in short supply, such as peccaries, foxes, chicken tigers, guaguas, chuchas, ordidelphias, armadillos, rabbits, bush dogs, and others. And they have appeared at the last minute. There are also thousands and thousands of bats, crabs and fireflies, toads and frogs, beetles of many kinds, snails and butterflies, bees and bumblebees, ants, mosquitoes. Wild birds are also a very numerous but rare species that are not found that often. There is not a big variety of reptiles as in other regions of the department for obvious reasons, as it's not an area that has hot weather. Among the fish, it is not known in our water currents more than the so-called sardines, eels, and captains, muggill or big-headed. The latter being, despite their smaller size, a very pleasant meal. So, talking about vegetables, the plant kingdom, because the climate is generally cold, does not present the variety of other regions. However, there is no shortage of some fruit trees and wood for construction, cabinet making. Textile plants, we have the kabuja. Agriculture in this area is not that advanced because the land is not well suited. However, corn, beans, tomatoes, yuca, arracachas are cultivated with some profession. In the region that face the honey, bananas of various species, sugar cane, as well as coffee, today on a large scale are cultivated in abundance. There are countless medical plants, a great profusion of vegetables, beautiful orchids, and garden flowers. Minerals. As for the mineral kingdom, nature has been quite lavish in our municipality. Gold, silver, cinnabar, native copper, and salt are found in abundance. Gold and silver mines were developed in early times. Salt benefits from two abundant salt sources and many adjacent, less abundant ones. Its monthly product is more or less 3,000 of superior quality, mainly for use in livestock. Climate. The climate involves a series of atmospheric conditions that characterize a region where the most important elements are precipitation and temperature. Other climatic elements such as evaporation, humidity, wind speed and direction, radiation, luminosity, and cloudiness also have an influence. Among the factors that determine the climate in Colombia is the intertropical convergence zone, characterized by the intertropical front, the effect of the Pacific Ocean atmosphere interaction, the trade winds, the orography, and the geographical position in the equatorial zone closely linked to the solar radiation factor. From January to May, the El Niño current introduces warm, moist air to the continent that produces convective rain. The climate of eastern Antioquia is generally cold, humid, and tropical. The temperature varies between 16 and 20 Celsius degrees. It presents a rainfall regime between 1,000 and 4,000 millimeters per year, with two rainy seasons in April to May and October to November, and dry weather between January to March and July to September, although these can vary significantly. The relief, the biophysical factors, and the climatological conditions present in the municipality of El Retiro create the conditions for the occurrence of three life zones, with the greatest conformation in the lower mountain floor, due to the homogeneity of the relief, presenting precipitation within the humid to very humid formations. The vegetation under these three life zones exists in a small portion of municipality, which corresponds to the highest surfaces. Forests heavily intervened at different levels of succession, with structures and composition typical of pre-montane forest with a transition to high Andean forest. The life zones present in the municipality I'll describe below, according to the Holdridge classification, with the designation of the system and the basic climatic characteristics. So pre-montane humid forest is 8% of the total extension of the municipality. Very humid lower montane forest is only 7% of the total extension of the municipality. And then pre-montane humid forest is 75% of the total extension of the municipality. So the pre-montane humid forest, this zoning includes the villages located in the extreme south of the municipality, which corresponds to the villages of El Barcino, Nazareth, and a small portion of the villages of Pantanillo and La Luz. It contains elevations that may vary between 1,000 and 2,000 meters above sea level, with average rainfall between 1,000 and 2,000 millimeters. Its temperature limits are 18 to 24 Celsius degrees. The natural vegetation on these life zones are trees and shrubs with little spatial continuity limited to areas of recharge, discharge, and water flow. Most of the vegetation is planted and corresponds to crops. Premontane moist forest, it includes a reduced portion of the village of El Chuscal, El Portento, and Don Diego. These formations contains elevations that vary between the 2,000 and 2,900 meters above sea level, with average rainfall between 1,000 and 2,000 millimeters per year. Its temperature limits are from 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. The natural vegetation over this life zone is limited to trees and shrubs in recharge, discharge, and water flow zones. Most of the vegetation is planted and corresponds to crops. In the present, the municipality of El Retiro basically presents two problems from the hydraulic point of view. The first is that the invasion of the floodplain of the La Agudelo Creek is already a populated area, particularly in El Barrio El Pino. And the second is that the construction of the urbanizations in the floodplain of the El Pantanillo River and other modifications of the slopes by the developers themselves have actually manifested in a wrong way with the water flow. Threat due to flowing in the basin of La Agudelo stream, it has been identified that El Pino neighborhood of the municipal seat of El Retiro is located in the withdrawal zone of La Agudelo stream, where the presence of a problem generated is clear by floods. Among some geographical accidents, we find El Salto del Tequendamita is a small natural waterfall in Colombia, located in the municipality of El Retiro, on the road that leads from it to La Ceja, both in the east of the department of Antioquia. It is located exactly in the rural area of El Retiro, 7 kilometers from the municipal seat. It is considered a tourist heritage of Antioquia. It is a 20-meter high jump from La Chuscala ravine in the Don Diego village, and around it there are various attractions, restaurants, grocery stores, amongst others, which makes it popular amongst visitors to the region. La Fe, the dam of La Fe, located in the municipality of El Retiro, is a water mirror with an area approximately 47,157 hectares, which provides about 58% of the drinkable water for the system of public companies of Medellin. The reservoir is fed directly by the Las Palmas, Espiritu Santo, and Boquerón streams, and by pumping from the La Agudelo stream in El Retiro and the Pantanillo, Buey, and Piedras rivers in the jurisdiction of the municipality of La Ceja. La Unión and Abejorral, this reservoir guarantees the supply of drinking water for El Valle de la Urra.